So they're married, but in terms of a wedding, all the planning and stuff got stopped due to health reasons. And now they're in a completely different financial situation. They want to focus on getting back on their feet. But her in-laws, they just will not stop pressuring them for a party. Let's take a listen to her voicemail.
Wanting your advice on the following. I'm struggling with my in-laws. We've always had to set some pretty clear boundaries, and I've always had to be pretty fierce in protecting them. We got married in January for some healthcare reasons. We did paperwork, but we haven't had an actual wedding. We don't want to have a wedding until we feel we are in a place financially for it and on the path to homeownership. My in-laws keep pressuring when we're going to have a wedding, in addition to providing a lot of details with them basically planning the wedding. Last night, it was straight up asked, when are you going to have a real wedding? And I said, we'll let you know when we do it. And my sister-in-law said, well, I want to have a party. I told her, you can have a party, but we'll let you know when we're ready for a wedding. She said, no, I want to plan a wedding. And I said, well, I'll let you know when we're ready for our wedding. I don't want them planning it. I don't want the questions. It's stressful. And I struggle to set that boundary and shut them down because they just continue to push. What's your advice here?
I hope you and your husband are just not worried about your health anymore and you're just trying to save away your money for your new house and that's all you're worried about. If this were happening to me, I would do two things. First, I would change my perspective because I would not want any resentment building up in the background between me and my in-laws. So rather than feeling like, oh, they're really pressuring me or they're really controlling, I would switch it to, wow, they're very enthusiastic. They must really love parties like this. Whatever you have to say to yourself to just be like, yeah, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that they really want to celebrate our union or they just really want to, help plan something so beautiful and fun like a wedding, whatever you have to say to yourself. I would also remind myself that I never asked my sister-in-law to put her energy into planning anything. Therefore, if she does bring anything to me, I am not obligated to use her plan or her coordinated efforts as she lays out the event for our day. There's no obligation there. Then the second thing I would do, instead of setting a harsh boundary, I really do believe that you can't control their enthusiasm. You can't control how excited they are. You can't control whether or not they pressure you. And you definitely can't control them bringing it up. What I would do, instead of getting defensive, because that's still energy that they can use to debate you, I would disengage. So I would acknowledge what they're saying, but then I would just kind of focus them on what our priority is. So that, let's say that, your sister-in-law comes up to you or your mother-in-law and is like, okay, so have you guys thought about the big day? I would say, we love how excited you guys are about this wedding. Absolutely. But I got to tell you, it's just not on our radar at all. Basically, until we are toasting mimosas at our housewarming party, which is way down the road, we're not even thinking about a wedding. So I just want you to know, all this talk or energy thinking about it is kind of a waste right now because really our priority is home ownership. Speaking of which, did you see that new listing on Brooks Avenue? So I'm acknowledging them, I'm shifting the focus to our priority, and then I'm really just changing the conversation. Even if home ownership is way down the road because you're still trying to find your financial footing, I'm still showing them our focus, our primary goal is we're going to get financially stable, get a home, and then we can talk about the wedding. Because it's going to get really annoying to them as well if they're just coming up with all these ideas and months and months and months go by. I think really showing them how long down the road this is going to be, it will be helpful for them as well in terms of them not getting irritated, as weird as that sounds. And the next thing you can do, if they keep pushing, is I would just say, yep, same answer as before. We're just really focused on financial stability and then home ownership after that. how is this dip, by the way? Like, who made it? So again, I'm acknowledging them, refocusing them so that they know what our priority is, and then I'm just redirecting the conversation to something like neutral, like the dip or whatever you guys are eating at the family gathering. I hope that's helpful. I really want you to know, under no circumstances are you obligated to use anything that your sister-in-law or mother-in-law are coming up with as they plan your wedding for you, like under no circumstances. So I would constantly be reminding myself, as adults, they can choose where to spend their energy, but under no obligation are you required to use what they come up with. Sure, there's bits and pieces you might incorporate, but you don't have to take everything like, oh, this is our wedding now because they've outlined the plan for me. That's not how it works, and you should never feel obligated for that. That's just how I would play with this or handle this. What does the Mind Your Boundary community think?